this investigative public hearing is a view to provide a platform and an opportunity for all stakeholders to make their submissions, observations, with a view to enhancing services of that particular sector. It is on that note that I urge you to be fair, to be trustworthy, to be God-fearing, to be accurate in your submissions, and above all, observe decorum throughout the proceedings. On our part, we will be just, we will be fair, we will be balanced. Ours is to give a very qualitative representation, and this Ninth Assembly is willing to partner with anybody, any Nigerian who is willing to develop this country. It is on this very short note that I welcome you to the Ninth House of Representatives Assembly ad hoc committee on the power
expenditure on the power sector to ensure sustenance of the power reform program in Nigeria. This matter was referred to the ad hoc committee on power for further legislative action. Today, my fellow Nigerians, I want to state that the motions as deliberated are wake-up calls to us all. You will agree with me that since 1999 to date, the National Assembly has appropriated huge sums of monies in the power sector, and there are lots and much to be desired from the sector.
Any country do not get the power sector correct, believe me, that country, that epileptic nature of the power sector of that particular country will affect the economic growth of that country. And if the economic growth of any nation is affected, naturally, the issue of insecurity, you cannot detach the two. It's not something that you go and learn in the classroom. It's something that over time you'll be able to appreciate the technicality of that particular industry, the politics of the industry, and that industry is very cumbersome. So our today's public hearing is not enough to enrich members of this committee to chart a way forward. So what we are going to do today is to give you the opportunity to do your submissions. Then we will now go back, study, x-ray, do justice to your submissions, and still invite you back. Then we will engage you from a point of knowledge, word for word, scenery for scenery, and batch for batch. It is on this note that I think I am of the opinion that we just quickly swing into action.
We started within the ministry to collate those projects, and they are primarily in the Department of Rural, Renewable and Rural Access. The director is here, and we have made their submission. The Energy Resources Department, we have also made a submission from that department, and the Distribution Department. So the submissions are with you, and as you enjoined us at the beginning, we're prepared to answer whatever questions the committee may have on those projects and explanations.
It used to be a department called Electrical Inspectorate Services. So when the privatization was coming to an end in 2013, we actually carved into an agency, and the National Assembly, for us to be able to perform our function in that, we were given an act in 2015. So for this, we say thank you. And this agency is actually established to carry out the functions of enforcement of technical standards and regulation, technical inspection and certification of all categories of electrical installation to ensure safe production and delivery of power to Nigerians, and to ensure safety in all its ramifications in the power sector and Nigeria at large. So I want to say, before we were actually given the act, we actually had some projects which we did, and immediately our act was enacted and signed into law, as an enforcement agency who is responsible for certification of all categories of electrical installation in this country, we actually had to stop, because we cannot be an executing body at the same time be an enforcement and a certification agency. So the few projects we executed before that time, we actually made a submission showing the status of all the projects, because we were just about 14. And so, just like you said, and my PAMSEC has collaborated that constructive engagement will give all our necessary support information that will guide the process as it affects our agency. Back and then add it to it.
All your projects are completed.
Yes, sir.
Your mic, please. All your projects are completed.
Yes, sir.
Let's take a hypothetical example from 2015 to date. All your projects are completed.
Yes, sir.
100%.
Sir?
100%.
Yes, and they are and light are on.
That means you are privileged to, if you are budgeted about, say, 5 million, so you are able to access that 5 million.
No. The issue is this: our appropriation really is not what determines the cost of the project. If you appropriated 10 naira, the project could be about 7 naira, it could be about 6 naira. It is the cost of the project that we assess from.
No, we were expecting, when you are appearing before the House for appropriation,
yes, sir,
you are giving us figures of your expected budget proposal for that year.
Yes, sir.
And you do your market survey.
Yes, sir.
And you engage all those that matters professionally to give you bill of quantities where necessary.
Yes, sir.
So you are requesting National Assembly to approve 10 million, for instance, as an expenditure for construction of Project A. When budget is passed, the federal government is now responsible for implementation of the budget.
Yes, sir.
And with the dwindling economy, I have not heard of any instance where the federal government of Nigeria is able to achieve 100% implementation of our own budget. I can remember from 1999 to date, there is no MDA that will claim to assess 100% budget implementation. So I want you to clarify what you are saying, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Our projects actually were the ones that were put as constituency projects. They were not actually as if we approached the National Assembly for those projects. Because from the origin, like I said, we are an inspectorate services agency that deal with enforcement of technical standards. So when these monies are put under the constituency, we then start, like you said, to survey them, and we survey them using appropriate technical experts to develop those particular projects. And when this project, actually we had it in 2015, which we started the project. We had some funds released in 2016, the balance fund we got completed those projects. So it's not as if we approached the National Assembly that we are executing these projects.
As an organization established by an act,
Yes, sir.
you have a budget.
That's for services.
You have budget.
Yes, sir.
The budget will be divided into three: your capital and your overhead, and sometimes you come for supplementary. Now, your own original budget, you are now telling us that added with the constituency project, you are trying to explain that the members of National Assembly were housed with your MDA. So it is those monies were housed by members of National Assembly as constituency projects that you are trying to justify that you are able to assess 100%. Even at that, my brother, it is not possible. Because you see, when we budgeted, even National Assembly House constituency projects, at times you give us a benchmark that you are going to implement only 70% or only percent. As I'm talking to you now, the federal government that is trying to review the budget pattern of bringing budget by January and rounding up the budget by December, they now said that they are going to only implement 40% of the capital projects. And that 40% is what is expected of all the MDs across board. So I'm surprised. I'm trying to give kudos to the government that is able to implement budget 100%. And I want to tell you that it might not be possible. It might not be possible for you to achieve 100%. And I don't want us to go into, because the more we get these sweet stories, the more we put our attention with a view to promote the government. And you may find out that it's very difficult to prove. And two, of recent, when we engaged the ICPC and the EFCC, they were querying, why would the MDs like your own, to be specific, and border commission will be having a budget that is over and above their envelope? So budget should have been, even this rural electrification should go to either Ministry of Rural Development or to Ministry of Power direct. There's nothing wrong with National Assembly members if it is by status, if it is accepted by law, that certain money should be set aside in the budget for constituency projects. There's no problem with that. Once it followed due process, we can warehouse the money, most importantly, in the related ministries. So if your envelope is, say, 300 million, and somehow a budget of about 3 billion is warehoused with your place, I don't see if we are going to get our record correct. So if you do your submissions, get prepared that we are going to scrutinize and find out that how miraculous Nigerian government implement budget 100%.
It enables us to know who is at fault, what is the problem. If, for instance, money released is more than money expended, okay, what are you doing with the balance? If, again, money released is less than money expended, we know where you source the other one. It will help us actually to get things right. That in 2016 were actually domiciled the name of the agency. National Assembly actually called us, and then we discussed, we explained to them that we, by this act, we can no longer execute projects, since we are the one who is going to actually inspect them and certify them. And then we agreed that we're going to transfer them to REEA, whose duty and responsibility is to execute rural electricity projects in the country. And so that is how we actually dialogue and engage, and we did that. Since 2016, there has not been any other project that has actually been domiciled in the name of NEMSA that has to do with execution of electricity projects.
NEMSA is a creation of a law, and the law states exactly what they are meant to do. The Appropriation Act is also a law, and when they have a line item that says do this in the Appropriation Act, by law they must do it. Now, the way around this contradiction is that while the Act says they cannot execute projects, the Act does not preclude them from engaging or asking another agency to supervise and execute a project that is in the Appropriation Act. So that is precisely what they have done. Because they are not equipped and also not supported by law to execute projects, they took a project that appeared to be in the purview of a sister agency, that is REA. Please execute this project. Furnish us with the certificates when it is completed, so that we can fulfill our obligation under the appropriation law to pay for that project and discharge it. So that is precisely what happened. It is not ideal, but it is the best we could have done under the circumstance when two acts of the same National Assembly collide.
Thank you, Pamsek. But what we are trying to run away from.
Honorable Chairman, the Managing Director who supervises the operation would have answered the question directly. Now, TCN is a government-owned company. It is a limited liability company, but it was created pursuant to the law as a successor company to PHCN. So it's not created by an act. Second, the TCN is regulated by the regulator NERC, and TCN operates 3 licenses: Transmission Services Provision License, the Systems Operations License, and the Market Operations License. All these licenses are subject to NERC regulation, and NERC defines the tariff that they charge for these 3 services. So they are not entitled to any percentage. They are entitled to a tariff that is regulated by NERC. Thirdly, the final question you asked, do they have regulatory roles? The market operator superintends the market rules that govern the electricity industry. And in that role, it has some quasi-regulatory functions.
Thank you. I want to quickly believe that TCN came up as a result of government doesn't want to engage Manitoba company. You know of Manitoba. Initially, they were the one doing the roles that TCN is doing today. But let me get and take you into confidence with your words as the PAM said. But then, right, MD, Director, GM, what was appropriated to you in 2019? 2019.
2019. It's about 12 points.
You talk about figures. You have to be accurate. Though. If you don't know, it's better you say you don't know.
Yeah. It's about 12 points. I don't know it exactly. It's about 12 points on the which.
About 12 point something billion or.
Billion okay. Naira. About 8.6 have been reduced to us. About 3 point something is still
good.
Standing. Yeah.
What is the estimated figure of your IGR in 2019?
I wouldn't be able to give you the figure of it. I've inherited everything, so we are trying to find a solution. In fact, we were with even the...
You should be responsible for what happened in that office. If you are not willing to be responsible in what happened in that office, you should not be in that office. It's a continuous thing.
No, we know.
Eh?
I know.
That's why the PAM here will sit down and give explanation of what happened in 1999. In 1999, he might be maybe an assistant director. You understand?
Yes.
And so we are still here to discuss issues that are purely official. That's why we pledge that we should be fair. We should pledge that we should make statements that are accurate. What
the transmission capacity, for now, our grid can support up to 7,000.
Is your record correct?
That is, it can.
Have you ever gone beyond 5,000? When?
In terms of, when you talk of the...
You see, whatever you said, you are on oath. Whatever you are saying, don't say it for the purpose of just rushing as you want to go. No. Yeah, if you don't know, say you don't know. I don't know in the record of Nigerian transmission that you go beyond 5,000. I want to be
5,100. 5,100.
And you are trying to bring about 7,000. Where do you get this idea of 7,000 that they are trying to sneak in?
No, that's
to portray that you are working or what? And even that 5,000 you are talking about, do your discourse be able to take all these 5,000 and transmit them to the consumer?
They have been very difficult.
If it is very difficult, whose fault is that?
Well, for now, you cannot generate electricity and store it. So whatever that is going to be generated into the grid is determined by the load. So you have a balance.
If I said I'm not an engineer, I'm trying to be more of a layman thing. If 2,000 is generated and you are expected to transmit this 2,000, you are distributing this 2,000 to the discourse. And this discourse have what they will pay to take off this 2,000 and they will send it to the consumers. If you give Disco A 500 or 700, and they are unable to take that 500 within that period, what happened?
If they're not going to take...
Because you see, like for instance now, the power that can be consumed in Lagos because of the industries and industrial activities, or Aba or Kano, would be different from powers that would be consumed in rural states like Taraba, Yobe, with apology to Gombe. Let me put Gombe full. So you understand what I'm saying now? So how can you explain this?
So, like I said, the power to be generated and the power flow through the grid is determined by the load, the amount of load that is available. For example, if you are generating 2,000 megawatts, and then the load that is available is 1,500. Of course, that's why we have insisted that there should be generators that have governors that will be able to balance the loads, to balance generation to the available load. So because anytime you have mismatch between the load and the generation, the frequency will go into excursion. It can lead to system collapse. So if there is generation at 2,000, and then suddenly you drop off 500 megawatts, it will be a disturbance to the system if there is no other load that can take it over at that time. So anytime you have insufficient load to match the generation, there is a problem in the system.
Why do you have only one corridor?
One corridor. We operate a grid system.
And therefore,
we don't have only one corridor. The whole generation is synchronized.
that's what qualifies it to have one corridor.
It's not one corridor. In many of the 330 kV stations, we have a ring system. So we have only one corridor, that is if we operate a radial system. But many of the 330 kV stations is ringed now. It's a ring system, it's not one corridor.